Hey, Carson, thanks for taking the time. We'll get right to it. Let's start with Zach Furman and then Kristen Rogers.
Hey, Carson, if you think back to when you first saw Jordan Mailata, what was your reaction at the time? And I guess when you look at his game now, where has he developed the most?
Yeah, big dude. Those are your first reactions when you see him. I mean, he's big dude, and you see the highlights of him playing rugby and everything, and you see a big athlete, and to see him progress and learn this game, learn the details of that specific position at tackle, and just how far he's come in such a short amount of time. I was just so proud of him to see what he did on Sunday night and what he's been doing, even in training camp and everything up to this point. And he's a great guy, great player, and I was really excited for him.
Okay, Kristen Rogers and then Jeff McClain.
Hey, Carson, we've seen you have a lot of success so far this season running the ball on your own. I'm curious if that kind of helps create a rhythm for you in the game and why you feel like you've had so much success using your legs so far.
Yeah, I mean, using my legs always just comes down to instincts, and it's rarely. I mean, every now and then it's game plan, but a lot of times it's just pocket breaks down, or defense is playing the coverage well or something, and I think it can get us as an offense in a groove a little bit, just because sometimes it's 3rd and 5 and we're able to convert, and it just puts a lot of strain and stress on the defense. But it's not something I go looking for. It's not something we game plan a whole lot for, but we all know it can happen, and receivers, they do a great job of staying alive and looking for the big play and the conversion when things do break down.
Okay, Jeff McClain and then Mike Kay.
Carson, we saw your first game with DeSean last year. You guys obviously had 2 big explosive plays, and since then it's been not much in terms of that, and also in terms of him playing with injuries. What is your level of empathy for DeSean and everything he's gone through since he's been here, and has it been I hate to use the word frustrated, but what has been that level for you in terms of not being able to work with him as much as you would hope?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, injuries are a part of this game that is unfortunate. And, D-Jack, he's had quite the career, stayed relatively healthy, and everyone knows what he's capable of doing. And so, obviously, it's tough to not have him out on the field, but we get it. I've dealt with injuries. Guys have everyone's gone through an injury at some point in time. And so, we'll see how he is. We'll see how he keeps progressing. But, I feel there's great chemistry when he is on the field with him and I. And there's always big plays to be had with him, but also some of these other guys have been stepping up. And, the big plays right there. We have opportunities here and there, and we'll keep hitting them.
Okay, let's go Mike Kay and then Tim McManus.
Hey, Carson. John Hightower's played a lot of snaps over the last 3 weeks, and you hit him on that big, crucial 4th down play. What has he done to earn your trust, and what do you like about his game?
Yeah, he's just come along, and just he's always had the physical skills and the talent. You see it in training camp, you see it in one-on-ones and different things. But it's just continuing to process the game, process what he sees from defenses and playing on time. And he's continued to do a great job of adjusting and learning on the fly. And whether it's him or Travis last week or Greg, all these guys, they might go all game long and not have a catch until they're called upon. And that's what I love about all of these guys is they're all ready at any time. And John came up big in that moment. And like I said, that could be anybody.
Okay, Tim McManus and Ruben Frank.
Hey, Carson, there's some evidence now from Sunday's game and the last 4 games of last year that your performance ticks up a bit when you're surrounded by guys, coming off the practice squad that you have to rally. What do you make of that?
Yeah, not really sure, to be honest. I think there is some elements to it that's exciting. I think for everybody, and there's just a lot of momentum on both sides of the ball, and guys just really get energized. You see a guy like Alex Singleton with the pick 6, and I mean the whole bench erupts because you see these guys and how hard they work in practice, and they wait for their opportunity. So it kind of fuels and energizes the entire team to see guys step up and make plays. But, I'm just really proud of the guys for being ready, being called upon, and doing their job. And, the big play was there with Travis, and he only had 1 catch leading up to that point in the game. And John later in the game. The guys are always ready. And so just hats off to those guys, and they're going to keep developing and keep helping this team.
Ruben Frank and then Les Bowen.
Hey, Carson, you talked about Jordan Mailata, but you look at the whole O-line, a lot of inexperience there with Nate just starting out. Jack came in for a bit there. Obviously, Matt Pryor hasn't played a lot. Ideally, you would love the original starting O-line there, but it hasn't happened. You always seem to, and this has happened before, you always seem to stay really positive with these young guys, patient with them. What's your, we always see quarterbacks who kind of don't have that, and kind of what goes into that for you, as far as, obviously Matt Pryor isn't Brandon Brooks and Jordan Mailata is not Jason Peters and so on down the line, but you've always stayed patient with these guys. What goes into that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I see how these guys work. A lot of times they're doing a lot of the dirty work. They're doing the practice squad. They're doing, maybe not the practice squad, but they're taking the scout team reps or whatever it is with the twos or different things in training camp. And I get to see how hard they work and how badly they want to be great. And so for me, that allows me the ability to just see the good in them, and I think that's what we need to just keep motivating those guys. And then I also see guys like Kelsey and Lane and Coach Stoutland, who coaches those guys, push each and every one of those guys to be their best. And I think all of them have done an amazing job filling in when and where. And, it's just kind of been a little bit of a revolving door at times with just guys going down and different things. But guys have done a great job stepping up and not only just knowing what they need to do, but executing their assignments really well.
Okay, Les Bowen and then John Clark.
Hey, Carson. Zach Ertz, you remember him. Obviously, it's a tough situation with Dallas Goedert out, with so many inexperienced wide receivers. Teams are able to focus on him very tightly. But last week, 4 catches for 9 yards. I mean, that's the lowest yards per catch of his career. What can you guys do? You're going to need to, you can't just say teams are taking him away. I mean, what can you do to get him back in the offense and kind of, a big part of things again?
Yeah. That's a great question. And, Zach's done an amazing job ever since he's been here. And some games, teams put their best cover guy on him or different things. And sometimes they try and double him or cheat the safety to his side or whatever it is they're doing, because they know everyone around the league respects the heck out of him. And so obviously you look at his stat line last game, and, it kind of is what it is. At the end of the day, we're all looking at the win-loss column, and we got to win. And that's all that matters, and that's Ertz's mentality as well. So we all know he's going to get his, and he's going to have his games where he goes for 10 catches or 12. He's going to have those games. But the way the Niners were playing him, that just didn't happen. But like I said, we're all just pumped that we got the win.
Okay, John Clark and then John McMullen.
Carson, going back to the running element that you've had, especially the last 2 games, it's the most yards you've had over a 2-game span. How much of it is being completely healthy from the knee, the back, and the other things, and having 100% faith and confidence in your body?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a part of it, and just feeling good, feeling confident. But I can say the same thing, going back over the years. I mean, there's been times I feel good. Sometimes it just happens, against a good secondary like they were, or, good pass rush, and you got to move and make plays. And sometimes it's just third down and things break down, and you got to find a way to make a play. So it's hard to say one reason why it's working other times and other times it's not. But, we don't go looking for it, but we know that the play's there to be made when it does happen, and we've been successful doing it.
What'd you think of the move when watching it on film that you put on the defender on that run into the end zone?
I've been working on that one for a while. I got to work on the touchdown celebration, though. Those are always pretty lame. Got to work on those.
Okay, John McMullen and then Rob Motti.
Hey, Carson. Pittsburgh this week, obviously a very difficult defense, particularly their edge rushers. What have you seen from T.J. Watt and Bud Dupree?
Yeah, both TJ and Bud, I mean, high motor guys. And usually that, not just high motor guys, but very talented. They make life difficult on quarterbacks, on opposing, they do a great job in the run game, and they just make it hard. So they have a good defense. They fly around. They do some things well. You can tell they're coached well. But those 2 DNs, outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them, they make things tough. And so those are 2 guys we got to be aware of, and we got to, rise to the occasion. And I'm confident that our tackles, our tight ends, and everybody will do a great job rising to the occasion on Sunday.
Okay, Rob Motti and then Martin Frank.
Hey, Carson, not to continually harp on running with the ball, but as you mentioned, most of those are when plays break down, not by design. Would you like to see more movement by design? Maybe not necessarily plays where you're designed to run with it, but at least rolling out, moving out of the pocket.
That's a good question. I think every week, depending on the defensive scheme, kind of dictates how much of that stuff you can do. Because it's so predicated against the defensive ends or the linebackers, how the defense plays. And so sometimes it's easier said than done to just say, hey, move the pocket. There's a lot that goes into it game planning wise, X's and O's. And I think coach has done a great job, this year and really over the years of using it when it's there and not forcing the issue at other times.
Okay, we have time for two more, so let's finish here with Martin Frank and then Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Carson. With regards to Travis and John Hightower, how have you been able to develop chemistry with those guys, so quickly? I mean, Travis came the end of August. John was a rookie, didn't have any of the OTAs with him. So how have you been able to do it, and why does it take longer with other guys, who have been around?
Yeah, I think those guys have done a great job just working their butts off since they got here. And John, being a rookie, has just continued to learn and progress. And I've gotten a handful of reps with him, all throughout training camp. Travis, a little bit different story, coming here, and he was, I didn't really get a lot of reps really until last week. And so sometimes it's just getting the reps that week and making the most of it. And sometimes it's keeping your playlist or your game plan, simple with the routes that those guys that they do, and just playing fast and executing. And those guys have done a good job of that.
Okay, let's end it here with Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Carson, we saw that extra little shove on the play where you were lined up out wide. What was going on there? And in general, when you're lined up not as a quarterback, what's your mindset for those plays?
Yeah, I mean, every time I'm asked to do something different out there, and I never knew if the ball was coming my way, so I was going to give it my all and block my tail off on that one. And as far as the extra shove, there was no whistle, so I was just still blocking to the whistle. That's what your coach would do ever since you're in little kid football. He played to the whistle, and that's what I was doing.
Okay, thanks, Carson. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.